Calling the roll, Chairman Carney. Member Fernandez.
Here.
Member Freed. Member Folden. Here. Member Sue. Here. Member Shaw. Here. Member Zarrilli. Okay, we have a quorum. And just one point of order before we start. Chairman Carney cannot attend the meeting today. It's been suggested.
May I move to make Arlene the acting chair?
Can we get a vote, a second on that?
Second.
Can we get a voice vote?
Agreed.
We have a quorum and we have an acting chair.
Good morning, everyone.
So I'll try my best to be up on where, I don't know, I can do this as well as you can. But I think the first thing on the agenda is a vote to approve the minutes. Do we have any corrections to the November 6, 2023 meeting minutes?
I have one, as acting chair. There is a reference to a discussion about indemnification on page 5 in the second full paragraph. It says Mr. Member Golden and Ms. Garrity discussed indemnification provision in some of the legal terms. I'd like that to reflect that Ms. Garrity said that we would be indemnified, not that we discussed it, but that there would be fact indemnification. Corrections. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes with the correction from Member Golden?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I think we need a voice vote, the board approved.
Member noted.
The next thing we have is there gonna be a presentation on this resolution or?
There won't be a full presentation, we have members of the executive committee that will answer any questions.
So next is the approval of the contract extension and the revision to the program terms with American Water Resources. Just as a reminder, we're voting on the last extension of a multiple year extension contract with AWR, which the board entered into with AWR in 2012. This is a opt-in program that customers optionally can voluntarily get insurance coverage for various repair services as it relates to water lines that the city does not cover. This is the second of the 5-year extension, which would take it into 2028. As a reminder, this included adding additional services, multiple tiers to the program, and a price increase at the base tier and the secondary tier. So in the room with us today is Aaron Cooper, CEO of American Water Resources, Josh Cohen, the CFO of American Water Resources, and Colleen Garrity, who is their GC. I'm gonna open the floor up to any questions that anyone has or any comments to the resolution.
I'll just make one comment. Or actually, it's a good question. I would like to know whether we would have the AWR commitment to regular updating, at least on an annual basis, if not more frequently than that, to the board in terms of the claims experience of customers, both in terms of how much is being paid out, what the satisfaction rates are, the trends on claims. And I ask that because I've been impressed with the information that I've gotten about customer satisfaction. Before we convened here, Mr. Cooper told me that they currently have 85 NPS, which is quite impressive among folks who had claims. And the satisfaction rates are good, but I've also heard that from staff that there have been periods in the past where staff has had to be relatively more aggressive with AWR in 2017, 2019, and again in 2021 about excessive claims denial. And that's something that is of great concern to me, especially in light of some of the material that's available online, like the reviews on the Better Business Bureau, for example. There are some pretty terrible reviews, so there's really some competing information out there. So I think it's something that we really need to stay on top of.
So For me, absolutely. We would look forward to that. As I mentioned when we first talked, we, especially as a new management team, have invested a lot in the business. A lot, and all of that investment is going into customer and partner satisfaction. That is the business that we're building, and so having that transparency foots right back to actually the first words I used when I had a chance to meet everybody here. This program is all about affordability of coverage, covering more people, so more people in New York can have this good experience and not be subject to this risk, and then trust and transparency. So it would actually, I'm very happy that you invited us to share that information, and I'll look forward to it.
And just one point of clarification, perhaps for staff, under the existing contract, we have, what does the termination provision provide in terms of our ability to terminate the contract during its term, either with or without clause?
The standard provision which this contract includes, if we can terminate with any board agreement for any reason on 30 days notice to the vendor. The legal right to modify the agreement, the agreement is clear. It's a practical matter with many of our agreements, kind of continuity of service, just ensuring that the customers and the utilities operation continue with the transition or the substitution to allow that transition. The board has a legal right to
Thank you. So that those factors are encouraging in terms of our ability to monitor the experience of customers on an ongoing basis and make sure that some of those instances in the past that staff has described don't occur.
So I just also want to note that there's been a public hearing that happened on December 1st, where the information we allowed for public comment, there were transcripts that were shared with the board. In addition, at our November 6th meeting, it's been a long month, I forget. We had the benefit of a presentation from American Water as well as the UTC executive staff walking us through the changes and the rationale behind the contract changes. Are there any other questions or comments? Commissioner, does anyone else want to add something before we move to vote? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the resolution as it relates to the contract extension and revisions to the program terms with American Water Resources? Yeah, that's a motion. So, do I get a second? Okay. We need to have a voice vote, right? Yeah, so,
Acting Chair, Michelle, how do you vote?
approved.
Member Fernandez Ketchum, how do you vote? Member Sue, how do you vote? Member Golden, how do you vote? Approved. Resolutions.
I think now we have a wonderful presentation.
I hope it lives up to that.
It always does.
It's short and sweet, so first of all, good morning. I apologize for having delayed you a couple of minutes. Thank you for waiting. And by the way, I would like to say thank you for the time and consideration of the extension of this contract. I do think that this is an important service for customers, and despite some of the shortcomings over the course of the contract, I think the new management team and the new arrangement we have really is a significant improvement, and is worth the rate hike, which, by the way, I do think is an appropriate rate hike given the macroeconomic environment. So I'm grateful to you all for your support of this. The customers will be well served. We just wanted to present with you this morning a quick update on some of the programs that you all have authorized for us over the last year and a half or so. As you very well know, at the end of last year, you authorized a number of programs to encourage repayment of our accounts receivable and to assist with people who are struggling to pay their water bills and debt. I'm pleased to report, just as kind of end of year housekeeping, nothing new on the amnesty since we reported to after it was done, but just to restate that we therefore gave $22 million in interest. In exchange, we got $105 million in the door, and there were 13,000 customers who benefited from that program. So I take great pride in what that did both for New Yorkers and for the system. I think our Bureau of Customer Service has done excellent work in marketing the New York State program, which is now sunsetting. The MyWeb program, due to their outreach to eligible New Yorkers, 8,250 customers qualified as low-income homeowners received $32 million that went straight to us, but reduced their outstanding debt, and this was federal money, so it was significant input into New York City, which is great. And the LIWAP Plus program, which is your money that you authorize, which kind of sweetened the deal and allowed us to clear out the remaining debt from people who had done the right thing and maxed out on their LIWAP but still owed more, helped for, well, it's a subset, 5,500 of those 8,250 got another $8 million, and in almost all of those cases, it brought them to a zero balance, which is a really big deal because that, it's got huge impacts on a homeowner who's in debt to at least get one of their bills into the black. So that's a big deal. The Affordable Multifamily Property Program continues. This is, of course, a smaller number of large properties, often affordable co-ops, and because the numbers per account are pretty high, the negotiations around each takes a lot of staff time, so that's why this is continuing. As you see here, we have 152 properties. I don't have the total number of units, but it's got to be at least 15,000 households affected by that. Have saved $4 million, and we have another 89 properties that we are in some stage of discussion with about amounts that would save them $3 million. This is still not wiping away our accounts receivable by any stretch, but it is a big step forward, and I think on all three of these we are doing the right thing. The next slide, as you know also, and has been part of our strategy, we started service terminations in May of 2023 for the first time since 2009. As you can see here, the vast majority of these properties either have paid in full or they have taken us up on the offer to pay 25% down and enter into a payment. There have been 62 properties, so we noticed 333 total. Using a set of criteria where we were looking for accounts where the property value was high, where the amount overdue was high and had been long-standing. So we have a framework through which we systematically prioritize where we are going to do terminations. According to the health department rules, we cannot do terminations on homes where a young child or a senior citizen is living. And so 62 properties were exempted for that reason. We did undertake 18 terminations. So there were 18 properties in New York City that have had their water shut off. 3 of them subsequently paid and so got their water turned back on. Sorry, well,
What did the other 15?
you know, what's interesting, Acting Chair, is that in many cases we find these are actually vacant. Right? There are only 1 or 2 that we've found where people are living there and they are refusing to pay. Frankly, including one egregious case, which is when the means a little bit household but nonetheless, that does seem to be a conflict.
So what happens when people, do we not know that it's vacant? Like, how does that work? Because if it's vacant, then presumably there should be no work. So is it legacy bills? Like what,
Yeah,
what
so
happens?
it's legacy bills often, they were unpaid and then somebody moved out. Or in some cases, there might be residual water consumption going on, whether it's, the automatic thing, whether it's toilet running or something.
These are not abandoned property.
No, these are properties with owners. In some cases, they are in a transaction, in some cases, there's a bankruptcy proceeding, things like that.
Have we looked in those instances of prospect protection for these property?
Well, so every overdue water bill has an automatic as of right. And I know we discussed this a little last year. So you probably know the specifics on this, but there is actually some hesitation to taking the step of proactively attaching a lien, because we do not want to suggest that the liens that we haven't taken that step on are any less valid. Right? So as a governmental claim, we have a lien always.
But if somebody does, if you have a property that's vacant and it's transferred, we go to the DEP and show up and search, like, something how to clear that before
It
buying
should.
property.
And it
Well-
certainly would show, no?
No, it typically wouldn't show up on a lien search, because it's not filed in the registrar. But any lawyer who represents a purchaser is gonna research that. So it's a baseline.
Yes.
Purchaser's lawyer is gonna look for water liens, property taxes, mechanics liens, they're gonna look for everything.
And I would add, and Almy embellishes that, it also usually does their behind on their property tax as well.
Yeah.
So we would have to coordinate with Department of Finance in terms of, assessing them. And they would also have to, exercise as well, and that's, so we have to coordinate on that front as well.
And then just the final point, so we do not do service terminations in the winter, both for practical and for customer service reasons, so we are done now, and we will resume at the beginning of March. But one of the things that, because we have seen that the notice that we are coming to turn off the water often prompts payment, we are going to use the winter months to issue a lot of those notices in the hopes that, as we have seen already, the vast majority will simply pay.
Just like that. Remind me that, are we not doing details? I know we had suspended it for a while. Are we still in suspension?
The water board sells its liens through the city's authority to sell liens, and that authority expired back in 2022.
Right, yeah, okay.
So until it gets reauthorized.
Yeah, got it.
And then the final program that you all approved at the end of last year, we have executed this fall, which was the auto pay incentive program. This was the idea that because we know that people who are enrolled in auto pay, the fact that they're enrolled in auto pay saves us money, increases the likelihood that they will pay on time, and consistent with, frankly, every customer service entity in our interest to get people into a program like this. You authorized us to offer a one-time period or a period of a one-time $100 credit and then an ongoing $50 credit for people who didn't sign up in that period. So in November, we completed the period when we were offering a $100 credit, and we're now ongoing with the 50. The program ran from August through November. We got 38,000 enrollments. Of those, 21,000 did the full enrollment, which earned them the $100 credit. That includes auto pay, e-billing, and ensuring that we have their full contact information, which is valuable in and of itself. And then we are going back right now to the remaining 16,000 who got halfway through the process, either because the customer interface wasn't clear or something. They didn't fully make it. We are hoping to get as many of the 16,000 into that, and we will give them the $100 based on their original sign-up. But I think this was reasonably successful. I would have loved to double these numbers, but incrementally, what's the this was like a 60% increase in our number of auto pays.
Yes. I think that was 10 or 15, or whatever, so we
So it was a significant increase in our auto pay enrollment, so it's beginning, we may well come back to you in the future with further ideas for how we drive this number up. But I think this was totally worth it, as we have talked about it. Golden had asked a question about this, the economics of this are pretty clear in terms of bills not being mailed, the propensity to pay on time, reduction in number of customer service inbound calls we get, all of those possible. This is totally worthwhile.
Is part of the full sign up a consent to opt out of the paper bill?
Yes, that's the ego. That was it. Just a couple of slides to give you an update on these programs that you had authorized.
Thank you, Carl. So, do you have any other business to discuss? Alright, hearing none, you can have a motion to, yeah, something,
Well,
any,
I just wanted to say one thing that with the board's permission, we would like to go ahead and go, best practice would be to make sure we can have more than a quorum. I would like your consent for us to start scheduling these like a year in advance. Just put them on the calendars so everybody knows when they're gonna be, and board members find that a useful practice rather than scheduling ad hoc.
I would suppose. And I think that we can, insofar as we can work into that schedule, figure out an update whenever you are, that's, you got it.
We can think in advance around all the things that are coming, and
If there are other milestones, like I know I've intended to visit some sites or other things, I'm not, there are other milestones next year. It's just helpful to have on the calendar. It's, just be more
yeah,
So
I think that was one of the things that we sort of talked about, just, we did bring this up that, somebody who's been here for a very long time. I know I look young, but I've been here for a very long time, because I started before Omar, Al was here, Joe was here, Rose was not. I did raise that we should do a couple site visits, because I think most of the board has not had the pleasure of any of the wonderful site visits to some of the DEP properties, because I think it does really show what phenomenal work DEP does. So that was something, we typically do it after the calendar cycle has closed, like June, July. Yeah, so we should put that,
yeah, let's get those scheduled as well.
Yeah, so Omar and I will be in touch. Get that set up. So,
Oh, thanks for reminding us. Okay, any other business? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to end our meeting?
I'll move to adjourn.
Alright, and do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.